So, Mark, we are going to have a regular show a little bit later this week, but this is a special COVID edition of MTM Vegas because there's some big news.
So
We also want,
exciting.
yes, and we have all that to get into. We do want to remind people that tonight, if you're watching this on the day it comes out, July 28th at 5 p.m. Pacific or Vegas time, as I like to call it, we have a live stream, our monthly happy hour with Bethany Walsh from Bougie Miles. So make sure to check that out here, right here on the channel, youtube.com/miles to
Or
memories.
8 p.m. Beast Coast time, as I like to say it.
Yeah, nobody cares about the East Coast. Everybody cares about Vegas time. It's perfect
You
happy hour
guys,
time.
okay, so this is a little behind the scenes thing, but so when I first started working for Sean on Miles Memories on the website, he wants everything scheduled Pacific time, but then it's also like Mountain West time. So you have to like do all this arithmetic just to be able to schedule on time and find out where things are ranking and stuff. It's all over the place. It's a mess.
No, that's not my fault because the company that we work with is in Colorado, so they have their stuff that's on Mountain Time, and then the website runs on Pacific/Vegas time as it should. Let's talk COVID though. I hope to see everybody at the live stream. Governor Sisolak came out yesterday after the CDC released new guidance recommending masks in public places, and he basically said that in high transmission counties, which is 12 of the 17 in Nevada, including Clark County, that masks will be required as of July 30th, just after midnight, so Friday morning. And yeah, let's start there, Mark. Basically, we're going back to a full mask mandate, vaccinated or unvaccinated, in any public area in Nevada, or in at least in these counties.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in you. You know, when the mask came off, you did this whole dramatic rip off thing, and I was expecting you to wrap it up and do the whole show covered in a mask, but
Mickey has to get his mask back because I finally took the mask off Mickey after like a year, and now he's got a mask back up.
yeah. I mean, and the funny thing is, we recorded the regular show yesterday, and we talked about this briefly, and you were like, I think, mask mandates coming back. They're doing it for employees, and I was like, I think it's going to be like the last ditch effort type of thing. Like, I understand employees, that's a totally different thing, but I don't think that they'll roll it back to the general public. But yet, mere hours later, I was completely wrong. So here we are doing a special show for it. It's kind of crazy. I really didn't expect it because Vegas was so, an early adopter, not as early as like Florida and Texas and that type of thing, but pretty early on of just, hey, everything goes. And that's where everybody's been flocking because they say, hey, even on the radio station here, I think it was like a Canadian radio station. They're like, hey, go to Vegas. They don't care, if you want to have some fun, even though they can't leave Canada. But that's beside the point. So I really did think that they would draw this out as long as possible. I'm very surprised. I haven't really dug deep into the numbers, so I don't know if it's even warranted at this point, but it definitely, if you had a trip coming up, it takes a lot of the wind out of the sails. I know I'm supposed to be there in September, and it's something that, you're like, oh man, that kind of stinks as somebody that's vaccinated. You're looking forward to just having some fun, and that's kind of what we've been used to here in Michigan. They loosened everything about a month ago. So it's tough to roll back, it always is.
Cases are at about 1/3 of what the peak they were last year, although things are different, and we're not doctors or scientists, so we won't try to break down that. Sisolak said, this is what he said in his announcement. In an announcement to the media, the CDC recommended that everyone, including fully vaccinated individuals, wear a mask in public indoor settings in counties with substantial or high transmission. And then, as I said, 12 of the counties: Carson, Churchill, Clark, Douglas, Elko, Esmeralda, Lincoln, Lyon, Mineral, Nye, Washoe, and White Pine. I only name all of those because that's a lot of rural counties. So it's not just Clark County. And by these sort of metrics, I expect a lot of the country is going to end up with mask mandates if they follow this CDC guidance.
After this show, I'm going to Google how many counties are in Michigan, because 17 seems very low. It seems like a small amount of counties.
Well, we basically have Vegas and Reno and Tahoe, and then like a bunch of small
Desert.
2,000 person counties or whatever it is. So yeah, it's like that. But this is what's happening. So I guess the big question people are going to have is, how will this change trip planning? How will it change trips? I mean, if you came to Vegas during COVID, you kind of know what to expect. The casinos know everything that they've already kind of done all of this stuff, so they know how to enforce it. They'll have masks at the entrance. We don't know. There's no distancing requirements yet, so hopefully we can keep with just the masks, and we don't have to do physical distancing or restrictions on capacity again. So let's hope that this works to get the numbers down, and we don't have to go any further there. But do you think that people should consider, reconsider their trips now that masks are mandated? And how long do you? I guess it's really just guessing, but how long do you think this will stick around?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy if they did bring back social distancing. Before I get to your question, we're already having issues with restaurants and everything, and maybe having a mask mandate will slow down people that want to come to Vegas since it's not open. And a lot of influx from LA and California to get away from the mandates there. So now you can't really come to Vegas and do anything differently. So that'll be interesting if they do, go back to like 50% capacity. I will say it was easier to find a seat at a restaurant back then, but there was a lot less people in Vegas. Yeah, and I wonder, do they still have that plexiglass if they need to bring it back? Is it out in the boneyard somewhere that they can fuse it back together or whatever? And we made the joke about them ripping out the sinks for washing hands and everything. I kind of thought, why not keep them? Because casinos are a dirty place. People probably wouldn't mind washing their hands, but are they going to bring that stuff back? So that'll be, we'll see on that. As far as, is it worth a trip there? I don't know. I guess it's very personal. I still had fun in Vegas when I had the mask, but as we've said, we use miles and points. I can travel to Vegas for $20 or less, so it's a different experience for me. I'm not spending a lot of money now. If I'm shelling out the $1,000, $1,500, if the prices don't come down for hotels and flights because of this, I don't think it's worth the pulling. Giving up that much money for half an experience type of thing. I still had fun. If you can do it cheaply, you'll still have a good time. I wouldn't really worry about it. You can still drink at the tables. You just have to be a little more cautious. You still have fun at the tables and everything. And when you sit down at a restaurant or a bar, you can take your mask off. So you can do pretty much anything that you normally would have done, but it is going to be not quite the same. So I wouldn't shell out $1,500, $2,000 for a trip. I might bump it back a little bit.
I don't think the mask mandate changes a whole lot. I wouldn't not book a trip here because of it. I stayed in a lot of hotels during the mask mandate. I spent a lot of time in casinos, and it was fine. And, I actually didn't like the mask more in the winter time when the heat was on inside the casinos than in the summer, because in the summer, you're not outside that much, and it's air conditioning, and it's nice and cool. So this time of year, it really didn't bother me as much with the mask. So hopefully, like I said, we can figure this out and move on. As far as how it's affecting tourism, I would expect that you're going to see cancellations and you're going to see demand go down, as a lot of people just don't want to come here with the higher transmission plus the mask mandate. So we'll see. I checked some of Caesar's rates. They are still pretty low midweek, and they have been sort of trending downward midweek. So I think that when they saw huge demand earlier in the summer, they jacked up prices, and now they're slowly kind of bringing them down. And I expect that there will be a lot of value midweek again here, especially as we go into kind of some of the slower times later this year. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely not good for the tourism industry. It's not good for the casinos. But this is something that the governor felt that they needed to do. And as usual on this show, we're not taking political sides here, just reporting the news. So I hope that we can get rid of this mask mandate, and because cases can go back down and that we can get back to it. But I don't see it as the end of the world. The big change, I think, would be capacity restrictions. I think that would hurt the casinos even more, and it would hurt the progress that we're making towards staffing up and getting reopened, whereas the mask doesn't really change that. They can still staff up, they can still hire people, they can still try to get back to their normal routines. And going back to like 50% capacity or something would ruin all the progress we made. And again, if it's needed, but hopefully we don't have to get there.
Yeah, and the good thing is it's only inside. Back in the height of the pandemic, it was outdoors too. If you went to the pool, the first time we went to Circa and checked out the pool, we were wearing our mask unless we were drinking a beer, walking around, and nobody wants to be in 107-degree heat with a mask on, laying by the pool, which was somewhat of a requirement before. It wasn't enforced that much, but if you weren't in the water, you were supposed to have it on. So hopefully that sticks as well, indoors. If you're not much of a gambler, which a lot of people going to Vegas aren't huge gamblers right now, it probably doesn't affect them that much. You go to a restaurant, you go to a bar, you sit down, then you can take it off and drink and everything. So yeah, I think it will depend on the situation, what you want to accomplish, how you feel about masks in general, and then what you want to do. It's kind of up to the individual person, I think. Now, as far as when do I think this will be lifted? I'm hoping like within a month or so. You know, these things do. You know, Michigan had a spike early on, like April, May, and it lasted 2-3 weeks, and it went back down. So hopefully this kicks it into gear, and people kind of calm down, and masks knock it out in a couple weeks, and we're back to normal. But who knows?
Yeah, let's hope so. Let us know what you guys think. What do you think about the mask mandate? What do you think is going to happen? Is this changing your calculations for your future trips to Vegas? Are you canceling trips? Are you planning more trips because of it? I know I saw on Twitter somebody saying that they're now planning a trip because they're happy that masks are mandated here again. Let us know all of that stuff in the comments. Don't forget a thumbs up, like the channel, subscribe. Check out our regular MTM Vegas show coming out this Friday, July 30th. And then tonight, if you're watching this, our MTM Vegas happy hour live stream with Bethany. Check it out, 5 p.m. Vegas time. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully better news ahead. Talk to you guys next time.
Yep. See you on Friday or tonight or next week.